217 Recovery Podcast.
If you don't make mistakes, you won't learn.
With your host, Corey Winfield.
You know how fish is bad is you can't put it on pizza.
And special guests, Justin Burke.
The thumbnail totally does not dictate the movie at all.
Jesse Smoker.
I pulled the string and it was a tampon.
And Mitchell O'Brien.
He goes, "You recorded me while I was sleeping?" And I was like, "Nope." He goes, "Winfield did?" He got this terror in his eyes. I was like, "Nope." And then he's like, "It was Smoker."
Got your ass.
It is the 18th of December, 2024. My name is Corey Winfield, and none of those people are on the podcast today. It's just the button I hit for the open, and that's what you get. Jesse Smoker actually is in the building today, but my guest in the studio is Tim Glucky. Do you mind if I use your last name?
No, that's fine.
All right. So how you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing well, man. We're having a little holiday party here at the office, and you came in to partake in the festivities. We got some meatballs and some sandwiches, some cookies. There's a meeting going on right now. Yep. I think you didn't want to interrupt it.
No, I noticed the door was closed.
Yeah. Well, because it's a Dharma meeting, and you're familiar with those, and they do like meditation at the beginning, and I had to go out there because actually Jesse came in and he saw the food, and he was just like, "Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking." He was at level 12. Outside level 12, and we're inside needing a 2.
Yeah.
And the meeting room was right there. So I had to go out there. I'm like, "Hey guys, there's a meeting going on." They're like, "What?" I was like, "There's a meeting going on." They're like, "Oh, there's a meeting?" And I was like, I appreciate the excitement. That's all cool and all, but like, got to bring it down to inside voices though. But because they didn't know, they were just excited. The holiday food, and it just brings out the best in people sometimes, and just the Christmas is next week. Do you have big plans?
I'm going to Cadillac to spend the time with my family. Going to go to my dad's and going to go to my mom's.
Okay, is that where you grew up, Cadillac?
Yeah, yep.
You graduated from high school there?
Yep, sure did.
How many people were in your graduating class, ballpark it?
300 maybe.
Wow, it's a big-ass school.
Maybe a little less.
Okay.
It's pretty big.
Well, bigger than my school. Who was the class clown? Did you guys have to vote for that?
Oh, I'm sure we did. I don't know, though.
Were you not active in school stuff, or just like, "Hey, I went there, did my work," and...
No, I got voted best smile.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And were you were in school? Were you part of the sport guys, the book club, the drama club, the choir?
I was friends with everybody. No, I really didn't do any like extracurriculars like that. I took we did foreign language and stuff, foreign language week and things like that. But
See.
we.
Yeah. Oh, you know French? Oh my God. Dang, bro.
Yeah.
No,
I was friends with everybody.
Okay. And is that when you started partying? Because you're a person in recovery.
Yeah. Yep.
And is that when the partying started, or when did you?
So my drug use started with like marijuana, drinking occasionally. It wasn't really like school related like a lot of people's,
Yeah.
Mine was kind of like more at outside of school. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's where I did most of I don't think I drank much in school.
Well, no, I mean like more in my personal life.
Like after you graduated?
No, I mean like home life, kind of,
Because your parents are divorced, you mentioned.
Yeah.
Without mentioning it, but you did.
Yeah.
I don't know if they wanted to be put on blast, but they are.
Yeah, no, they're divorced, yep.
I don't know why they couldn't make it work, but they couldn't.
No, that's okay. Sometimes people just need to...
But sometimes, like, because do you have a stepmother?
So I'm adopted. I had my mom is my mom, and then her second husband adopted my sister and I.
Okay.
Sister and me.
Because that can throw a wrench into a lot of people's psyche, and it's hard to address it because you just think, well, that's what happened, and that's fine, and that's how I grew up, and this is the way it's supposed to be. Okay, this way it's happening, but to actually go through the emotions of it all, and being adopted, does that bring any kind of like, oh, I wasn't wanted, or because I'm not adopted, I don't know these things?
No, I mean, growing up, there's always that sense of like, our real dad didn't want anything to do with us, this and that. But, what comes along with recovery is you learn that addiction isn't it's not a choice, it's a disease. And our biological dad's an alcoholic.
Okay.
So, I remember being very little and my grandma telling me like, he's sick. It's not that he doesn't love you. He's just sick. I accepted that then. And then once I got older and, became an addict myself and learned about the ins and outs of it, it became, it wasn't as a devastating blow. You know what I mean? It kind of softened it.
Like, okay. Well, that's good to know for people out there listening, because they might be like, hey, struggling through some of the same stuff. But back to the outside of school stuff, the family life and stuff like that. Like, I used the drinking to like fit in. Like, I didn't want to be known as someone who wasn't cool. Like, I wanted to fit in. I wanted to make people laugh. And that's why I started making people laugh. I was just like, hey, I can make people laugh and that makes me cool. Right. But then like we go to a party and of course I would want to drink, and because all the other cool kids were doing it. Yeah, I need to drink too. And it just kind of became a thing. And before I knew it, I was drinking because it was Friday. I was drinking because it was Sunday. I was drinking because there was football. The Cubs were on. I mean, whatever it was, there was always drinking involved.
Right.
And it was a very slippery slope for me. But your drug of choice wasn't alcohol.
No. It started with, I think the first drug outside of marijuana that I abused was probably Vicodin, then Adderall, and then meth.
Okay.
And then once I found meth, it was, nothing else mattered. So
yeah. Some people will say, oh, but I'm just going to drink now because that wasn't my thing. I'm just going to smoke some weed because it's legal now here in Michigan. And yeah, that's fine. My doctor gave it to me because my back hurt. They'll make some excuse up,
Yeah, absolutely.
And I always say to them, because I tried it too, oh, I'll just smoke weed. I'll just do that. It was never good enough for what my brain had already been like, boom.
Yeah.
Stamp approved. This is what I need, which for me was alcohol. So you're saying the same thing, just a different drug of choice.
Yeah. There's been times where I've gone to treatment and thought to myself, oh, when I hit a year clean, I'll smoke some weed, because it's not dangerous. But for me, I know that it wouldn't be enough. Yeah. And the second I smoke weed, my clean time's gone. So why not put a needle in my arm? And that's kind of where I'm at today.
But you're in recovery when you say you're in recovery, man.
I don't know what that's about.
And those people can live their life however they want. But for me, because I just had 6 years the other day, and
congratulations.
I put on there that today marks my 6 years sober, and somebody was like, "I thought it was supposed to be you're in recovery when you say you are." I didn't respond to him because he was kind of troll me a little bit, trying to troll me. And whatever people want to believe, do what you need to do. But I'm just saying, for me, I once was of the mindset of I'll smoke weed or not. But every time I would smoke weed, it would let my guard down. And then I would think, well, just a half pint's fine. But I can't even drink a drop. Right. I can't do a shot. Like, it's not enough for me. My brain will, I want more.
Yeah.
And I think what you said too is the same thing. Like, your brain is going to immediately want more because it's not what you're wanting. You might be cool a couple days. Sure, you do it here or there. But in the long run, why would you take that risk of baiting yourself, setting yourself up for a trap?
Yeah. And for me, a lot of what my addiction is also sex. So I know last year after I left treatment and went to the T house and relapsed, that started with sex. And it just opened the door to doing meth. So it's been a long road trying to separate the two. But
yeah. Oh, because you mean the two together were just...
Yeah, so I can probably count on one hand the amount of times I've ever had sex without meth. You know what I mean? Because definitely today, like where I am in my recovery, like if you were to offer me sex, it's offering me meth. It's the same thing for me because they're so intertwined. So it's been a lot of working with my therapist to try and unravel those two, because one is a basic human need. The other is, it's okay to say I can never do drugs again. It's probably not realistic to say that I'm never going to not have sex again.
Right.
So,
and maybe, and I don't know how your therapist brings it up like this, or maybe they do, maybe they don't, but just finding that person to have that intimate relationship with, as opposed to just like, hey, let's look up, you're hot,
Right. Yeah. And that's terrifying to me. The idea of, like romantic intimacy. Like I can be into like this conversation. I can be intimate. I can be intimate with the guys in the house, like in rehab, I love that, developing that relationship, on a deeper level like that. But when it comes to romance or anything like that, that's terrifying to me.
Yeah. So. Well, because you haven't done it.
No. Yeah, exactly. It's all foreign.
If I was to fly a plane today, everybody'd be terrified, first of all.
Yeah.
But I would be terrified because I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that's just because you got to get that under your belt, which you could look at like, oh my God, that's the scariest thing. Or you could look at it as exciting.
Yeah. Yes, true.
Like you're going to get to experience this one day, Tim.
Yeah.
And it's going to be magical. And you're going to be like, oh my God, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
And you're going to have so much more appreciation for it. And I can't wait for you to get there because it will happen.
Right.
You know, you're going to meet that person and it's going to be special and it's going to blow your mind. You can be like, oh my God, like that's what that is.
Yeah.
That's what it's like waking up next to somebody, you know, like it'll be special and you'll love it.
Yeah.
You know, so just wait for it. You know, don't hold yourself out.
Yeah.
And obviously you don't want to do that because that does lead to other stuff too. And
Yeah, no, and that's also a big part of my addiction story is that very thing. So,
well, I'm rooting for you, Tim.
well, thank you.
Because I'd like to hire you one day too. At 217 Recovery, I think you'd be great, man.
Yeah,
And-
well, I went and got that NIMSAS training done, and I got my chauffeur's license. I'm working on it.
Obviously.
Yeah. Sorry, it took me a minute to find that drop. I was going to hit a different one first.
Oh,
I was like, yeah. But yeah, the plans that you have for your future seem bright. You know, you don't know exactly what they hold. Does that bother you? You know, you don't know exactly what's coming down the road.
I think that it's, because I just, in a few days, I'll have 8 months clean, and that'll be the most clean time I've ever had. So anything beyond Thursday is like, or Friday is like uncharted territory for me. So as long as I continue on the path and the trajectory that I'm on, I'm confident that the unknown, what's to come is going to be good for me. Yeah, I just can't use.
That's number one. That's what I had a guy come in earlier. His name was Jamie, and he was my roommate back the last time I went to treatment. And there was something that was told to us, and it was like, just don't take the first drink. Stay away from the first one. Stay away from that. Because once you take the first one, you're done.
Yeah.
And then the guilt, from it. And then the shame that you've caused yourself. And it just builds right down to a hole of, oh my God, just keep going.
Yeah. And I'm so not interested in burning my life to the ground again.
You've had enough.
I've rebuilt my life so many times, I can't even count how many cars I've traded, how many times I've, just had 2 pairs of pants, 1 pair of shoes, like nothing to my name, and it's hard work building that back, and it's expensive building that back.
Stay away from the first one. And then somebody was telling me or asked me yesterday, how come I keep picking people? Oh, okay. It was somebody that works for us, but he was like, how come I keep picking people up? And the first thing they'll say is, well, I stopped going to meetings, so I went to shit from there. I was like, well, there's some to that. But at the same time, if that's all you're doing is going to meetings, good luck. I had to change my entire life. I was told people, places, things. And I'm sitting on my couch in Arkansas about ready to open another bottle. And I'm like, people, places, things. Pff, I don't go anywhere. I don't hang out with people who drink. Like, what am I supposed to do? And then I had a guy who I was giving a ride to was giving me the same thing that I used to spit to myself. And it's like, well, here's the problem, man. And here's what I didn't get at the time. You have to go find those people. You have to find those places. You have to get off the couch. Opportunity does not just come knocking on your door. Hey, you want some great stuff? Here you go.
Right.
It's not going to happen. You have to get off the couch. You have to get out. In those people you can find at meetings. You can find those people at church. You can find those people in the library, the gym, wherever. But making those connections and being places with people and making yourself a part of the communities, I think, was huge for me. So people that are just going to meetings, sure, it can be done. I don't think I would be happy just going to meetings.
Yeah.
I had to go to 5 or 7 meetings a week or something like that when I was in sober living, which was fine. But it got me into a routine and it got me into knowing what I needed out of those meetings. And it was just, a chance to vent, get stuff off my chest. And those are fine. I like doing that. But it wasn't just me going to meetings. It was me going to school. It was what I was doing outside of all of that.
Yeah, building a network.
Yeah, creating a nonprofit, having goals, finding a hot wife, I had plans. No, but it's beyond just going to meetings, At least that's, in my opinion, as a professional radio broadcaster anyway. Like that's what worked for me, and that's what I see, and that was my answer to him. It's like, yeah, like, you're going to hear it a lot, and I've heard it a lot. You probably heard it a lot too, but that is one of the first things that kind of goes. Like, if you go back to my past and my return to use, I think that's what NEMSAS calls it, my relapses, I would stop going to meetings, sometimes, but I don't know. It all leads to whatever it is. But so you're a manager at a place now, which is great.
Yep.
Is that something that you see in your future? Or are you just like, hey, I'm holding it down today?
I've been a manager in the past at other places that I've worked, and I always get a really nice sense of fulfillment out of it. I like affecting change and like leading a team, inspiring other people to like do their job well. So I enjoy management. And the trajectory that this company has right now and like their business plans for the future, there's a lot of room for growth. If I play my cards right and I just keep doing what I'm doing, there's definitely a career in it for me right now. Nice. But I also know that, there's a few things that have been missing in my recovery. This was my 9th time in rehab, and every time I do something a little different each time. And I think one of the big changes that I need to do is I need to work in recovery in order to like maintain long-term recovery. But I've never had long-term recovery, so I've never gotten to a point where somebody would hire me, because I can't be trusted, and that's just the fact. You relapse every few months, because that's my pattern. I use for 6-7 months, I go to rehab for 3 months. I use for 6-7 months, I go to rehab. It's been this nonstop cycle, so this time I'm trying to do a few things different, and that you mentioned church. That's one of the big changes that I've made this time.
Yeah, one of my times, which it kind of stuck, but it didn't. And I learned a lot. And you said you've been 9 times at treatment. Mm-hmm. You've learned, and you could probably still remember some of the stuff that you learned that you still hold on to today from the first time you went.
Yeah.
Like just because we go so many times doesn't mean we didn't learn anything in those other times. It's just we were still trying to do it our way. Or we were put ourselves in a situation that we didn't expect. The next thing you know, we're saying yes. We wanted to say no, but and then you're off.
Yeah.
And it just takes that one split decision of the addict brain to come back, and you're off.
Yeah.
And if you're not grounded, you're not set, it can hit you sideways really quick. So my point here is by going to all those times, and some people would say, oh my God, and I've heard it, I can't believe I've been treated sometimes. Didn't learn nothing. No. We're learning things along the way. But I think that you would be an asset because of that.
Yeah.
As for people like myself, 15 times is stupid. Like it wasn't exactly treatment 15 times, but I count the mental institutions, the mental health places as well, because my drinking led me there.
Yeah. So
they're all in there. But I think, going so many times and not giving up kind of shows something. And I think that a lot of people will kind of look up to that even. If you just went I went treatment one time and I would raise an eyebrow like, oh, you had a problem, or you just didn't want to go to jail anymore. Like,
right.
Because jail didn't scare me. Jail didn't scare you either. Like, I don't even know if you've been to jail, but I'm just saying, like, the thought of going to jail, you were like, oh, I'm not doing that drug. Let me put it down.
Right. Yeah. What drives me to get clean a lot of times is I get so far away from being human. You know what I mean? Like the isolation and the hallucinations and the dirty shit that I do, selling my body. It's just, being around people who are just not interested in doing anything good. And for me, a lot of times, the decision to go to rehab is because I need, I just have this overwhelming need to reconnect again. Going to rehab for me is learning how to be around people, learning how to eat food around people, learning how to, talk to people and like make those connections and not just see people as like sex objects or myself as a sex object. I need to, more than anything, I need to get some distance between me and that last use. If I decide that I'm going to get clean, while I'm out there using, I decide I'm going to get clean. If I don't go to treatment, I'm not going to stop using.
Right.
I may stop for a couple weeks, but then the pain of it, gets to be just so much that I want to use so I don't feel that anymore. And being in treatment, you have that really nice option of having therapy 24/7. You've got 20 other addicts to talk to. You're in a place that's, safe for you to reach out and connect and yeah. And you know what? I really like rehab. I do.
It's fun.
It is.
It kind of like, I wish I could go on a rehab vacation.
Yeah. And rehab has always been an exceptional human experience for me. I'm a rehab rock star because I've done it so many times, and I really enjoy it. And I had a friend tell me this last time, when I said that to him that I enjoyed going to rehab, he's like, you know what? I think maybe that's part of the problem. You know what I mean? Like, you're not building a life or a network or a foundation where you feel that connected in real life. So you use, meth is my shortcut to intimacy. That's the long and short of it. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just, I tell the guys all the time when I go to Dukoski, bring the meeting in, that brotherhood you feel here doesn't stop here.
Right.
There's NA, there's AA, there's these tea houses, you can come here, to 217 recovery. Like, there are so many options in Traverse City to stay connected. It doesn't stop when you leave rehab.
No. And that's something I never wanted to get into. And I liked rehab, but I'd only be there for a week. And I'm like, all right, I figured it out. See ya. Because I thought I'd figured it out. Oh, I'm smarter than you people. And, that takes a while for some people to get over that you're not smarter than other people. You're not, it didn't work for him. Well, he's stupid. It had to work for me,
Right.
Okay. It took me a long time to figure that out, that I was probably actually dumber than most people. But when you do start to kind of figure that out and realize, okay, what they're saying is probably true and I should listen. And then, I had to realize it wasn't a game anymore when I got a DUI and I don't remember driving. Like, I could have killed people. I didn't want to become that person. So what do I need to do to fix this? What do I do? What am I missing? And then I start digging into my past. It's like, okay, a relationship with my father. And I didn't know it affected me as much as it did. Because I'm a guy. I'm just supposed to get over it and blah, blah, blah. But no, I had a great stepdad. But I never had that father-son relationship growing up. And I think that led to a lot of it. So to look in the mirror and actually go through that and process it, it really helped. And I thought, wow, that is something that I need to address. And I address it as an adult, not a drunk person texting your dad, F off, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
Not proud of it, but, I wouldn't change it. And I had to tell my dad, hey, sorry if that hurt your feelings, but not sorry I sent it. Because that's how I was feeling at that time, whether I was drunk or not. Now I told him I will address it differently now that because I think when I reached out, I had 2 years sober. I have 2 years sober. I will address this with you in a different manner. But and then to actually talk to him and hear his side, and it's like, oh, okay, everybody has a story. There's two sides to every story. And to actually hear his and kind of, okay, and rationally think about it. I had to be 2 years sober. If I was 3 months sober, I would have been like, whatever, dude, and I probably would start drinking again. But to know when you're ready to tackle those issues, and yours is intimacy, one of them, I don't know how many you have, but how do you tackle it? I don't know. And you don't know either, but you're working through it.
Yeah.
And a little bit better today, than yesterday is kind of my motto. But if you can go through treatment lots of times, and if you can go have fun there and learn about yourself and grow, I think that's huge. And at the end, when I was forced to be there 90 days, I did 60, but it was a huge thing for me because I couldn't just leave after a week.
Yeah.
And the people I've met along the way, I mean, there's a guy, I think he said he was in Muskegon now, but I met him in Grand Rapids. And he reached out to me and was like, hey, man, me and my girl, we got 30 days clean, And this was probably a month or two ago. And I told him, I was like, checking with me every week. And then he did 1 week later and then hasn't ever heard from him. So I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go track him down or anything and tell him he's a bad person, but it's probably not good.
Yeah.
But the fact that he still reaches out to me, is huge. And I just met some really, really cool ass people in treatment. There was a guy that we picked up the other day that I know, and it was his first time going to treatment. And we told him to go to Dukoski. That's what I recommended. I was like, go to ATS here in Traverse City.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I'm really nervous. And I told him, I was like, dude, you're going to meet some really cool ass people in there. And he just kind of looked at me. And it took me back to the very first time I jumped on a plane and went to LA. And I just remember like, what kind of weirdos am I going to meet? Yeah. And you just like, because you watch TV and you see movies and all these drug people are really bad. And I'm going to be in there with some people who do meth and heroin. And I'm just a drinker. I'm better than them. Because you have that mentality. At least I did when I first went in, and quickly realized I could have been hooked on any of those other drugs just as easily.
Yeah.
But it was funny because he just looked at me, like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, it was over the phone too. So it was just like, I see his eyebrows raise up. Like, I'm going to meet some cool people. Like, I'm going to meet a bunch of drug addicts, bro. And it's like, nah, dude, you'll understand when you get there. I told him, but I think he's in a good spot. And the people over there at ATS, especially the men's program and maybe the women's too. I don't know it as much, obviously, or as well. But the men's program, the people that run it, the people that work there, they're in recovery, man. That's huge.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Dave G, I'd been to rehab many times before I went to ATS. And when I went to DeKoski, that's kind of when my mentality about recovery shifted. It was the first time I ever I followed through with outpatients. First time I ever went to a tea house. When I met Dave G, the way he carries himself and like talks about recovery and just the way that he breaks it down for you, it changed my whole perspective. Like like the way he treated us, it changed my life. And I've always wanted recovery, but until I came to ATS, it was just, I'm going to go to rehab because I got to save my job. Like my parents are pissed. I got to go to rehab or I'm trying to save this relationship. Like if I go to treatment, like maybe they'll take me back. It's always been that, but these last few years it's been about me, and I've always wanted recovery, and once you go to AA or NA enough, when you relapse, there's not a lot of fun because they've ruined it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You got the 12 steps running through your head.
Oh.
There's a better way. All the people that you've met and all the friends that you've made and everyone who's been rooting for you is now, disappointed. And like every time I relapse, I always tell everyone, like, don't worry, I'll be back. I always come back. There's just some things that I think I have to do while I'm high before I can stop.
Yeah. Because I've known you for a few years now, and you went to Lansing with us to the UFAM rally. That was a good time. That was fun. I was freaked out because I'm like, oh my God, we're bringing all these people that are in sober living and somebody's going to screw up. It's going to be on us, but nobody did, and it was great.
No, yeah, it was great.
And, I've seen you go back out, and I've talked with Marnie about it too. It's just like, man, I wish he would just call us and ask us, give him a ride or something, But as well as I know, if I would have called you, you just would have been like, well, not talking to him. Like, I don't know. When you're in the zone, you're in the zone.
Yeah.
It's going to be when Tim wants to go, but all we can do is sit back and pray and be like, well, we can just pray that God gets him back sooner than later, because the more you're out there, the more stuff you burn down.
Yeah.
And
eventually I always call you guys.
yeah. How you doing?
What are you doing Tuesday?
No, we're always like excited to see that you're back in there. When Marnie would work at the treatment center or whatever, she would see who comes in, and she would, she would or maybe wouldn't tell me, oh, so-and-so's in here. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I think most of the time I'd see at events. I'm like, oh, shit, you're
There's
back
Tim.
in here. All right, cool, Tim. Glad to see you back. And that's how I see most of the people, if we do like a volleyball or whatever kind of event we're doing and got going on, and somebody will come up, hey, we had a recovery stories event. And
Yep.
guy came up to me last time, and I hadn't heard from him in a while. Last time I saw, he was posting videos of his interaction with the police getting arrested. I'm like, why would you post that?
Yeah.
But, but he's in there, and he was just like, man, I'm doing good, and told him to come see me. I don't know if he's even out of treatment yet, but if he is, I would expect him to come see us. But it's cool to see people again, go back through there. And some people think, oh, you've been there 8 times, 9 times. It's easy for you to go back there. It's actually kind of harder sometimes.
Yeah. This last time when I graduated DeKoski the last time last year, it was pretty much made clear to me that, if I needed treatment again, it wouldn't be at DeKoski. And that wasn't because, ATS loves me. I love them, great relationship. It's always a fantastic experience with them. But it got to the point where, they told me, like, we're enabling you at this point. If we just continue to allow you to come here, do the program that you already know by heart, you can walk in here and, you can walk right through it because you know what to expect. If we don't start saying no to you, it's not, we're just enabling you. So they told me they'd help me get into treatment, and I could utilize outpatient services and all that stuff, but they wanted me to try it somewhere else. And I took that advice, and I went up to Great Lakes in the Sioux, and that was terrifying, going somewhere that wasn't DeKoski because the last 4 times before that I'd been at DeKoski, and it was terrifying being that far away from home. I'd never been across the bridge before, so
Really?
no, no, but it was a great experience. And one of my friends works up there. He was a person that I just never I never thought would get clean ever. You know, he started as my drug dealer, then became one of my best friends. You know, we got lost in Florida together. You know, we used to use a lot of drugs together, and he got clean, and he works up there, and he's a recovery coach, and he works in the outpatient building. He works at the MAT clinic. You know, his life is completely changed. And, you know, I always think about, you know, or like my buddy Jeff, like if they can do it, I can do it, because we were the same type of addict. You know what I mean?
And not to put Josh on blast or anything, but he does listen to the podcast. He's a big fan of what we do, so I am going to put him on blast. But he, you know, one time I was taking somebody up there, and he was like, "Man, we got to get Tim back," you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah," and I think I might have talked to Jeff about it, and then there was like, "Oh, he might not want to go there," you know. And I'm like, oh, "Okay." So I think he went through ATS that time, but then to see you actually go up there, and it's a good little program. I think, you know, they showed me around, gave me a tour. It's like an old church that they built into a treatment center. Like the bottom part
Is all dorms and the
dorms.
kitchen.
You get one roommate, which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the beds seem decent. You get a little nightstand, a little dresser to put your stuff on.
Yeah, it was nice. It was, you could tell that it was newly renovated.
Yeah.
And the kitchen was great. The furniture was nice. You know, it was very homey. I liked it. It was different than other treatment centers that I've been to in the way that it's more peer led. Like we had a peer leader. You know, toward my last month there, I was the peer leader, and like you round the guys up, and you make sure that we're doing our morning papers and goals, and like you round people up for dinner and lunch, and you know, like, and you're someone they can look up to, you know, and go to, you know, the new guys can go to them and stuff. You know, at the other treatment centers I've been at, it's not like that.
Yeah.
You know,
You're just the guy that's been here the longest, as opposed to like, I mean, you're supposed to lead by example, but still, if somebody's not sweeping the floor doing their chore,
right?
it's not your worry.
Yeah.
You know, and part of that I can see and is a good thing. Part of it I can see is that's not a good thing, because the person who's not doing their chore, there's something still going on there. You know, that's a huge red flag. To sweep the floor, I'm not sweeping the floor. Why? You know, and when I would come to Dukoski, I would tell the guys, like, if you walk past the trash and you see some paper on the floor, pick it up, put it in the trash can. That little thing, or just walking past it, what are you going to do? That little thing is the difference between, are you going to be doing the right things or not?
Yeah.
Because if you can take that extra second, I didn't throw it there, it's not my, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Do the next right thing, no matter what.
You know, like, you have to live here too. Do you want to be living like that? And that was hard for me when I went to sober living the first time, and I go downstairs, and on the counter, somebody had left their taco shells out and a cell phone. I took it and threw it all outside, and there was snow. I didn't give a shit. I just threw it all outside. And it took me a minute to realize that is not my problem, because they have a house manager. You know, that's not Corey's problem. And that's kind of like the other treatment centers where they're like, hey, it's not your chore. Don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. But the problem with that is the treatment center I'm talking about, there's nobody going to that guy going, dude, we noticed you didn't do your chore today. Like, what's going on? Like, you have a bad back, or you just too good to
just
sweep
rarely
floors?
laziness. There's always something else going on.
Yeah, and what's going on? You know, oh, I forgot. Okay, well, let's see. That's the problem, is there's no one going to those people to talk to them. I know that firsthand, and that's the problem. And then all of a sudden, it builds resentments for the other people, and you're like, well, what the fuck? This dude's not doing his fucking chore. I'm not doing my fucking chore, and it can build like a whole, like it spreads like a whole fire through the whole place, you know. And it's just like, oh, maybe I shouldn't use that word, fire, because I'm not trying to jinx anything or nothing, but especially there's a candle going here.
Yeah.
But I can see where the peer led way would be the kind of way to go too, where it's like, okay, cool. Well, we do have to pick these people up, and if he doesn't know how to do the chore, let me show him.
Yeah,
you know,
because that's also a huge thing. Is sometimes people just have never been shown how to clean a toilet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's been a very common thing where someone just doesn't know how to do it. You know.
And it blows our minds sometimes, but people are raised different.
Yeah. And they're embarrassed to ask, or, you know, let you know that that's not the case. You know, and that was kind of the nice thing about the peer-led part of Great Lakes, is that you could have somebody at your own level that you could go to. You know what I mean? You didn't have to go to staff. We didn't have to escalate it like that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Because it's like, cleaning bathrooms isn't fun for some people. I mean, some people love it, I think. Maybe, I don't know, sure. but there's a way to do it. You can put gloves on, and you can get a little system down. And in sober living, I was like, please don't give me bathrooms. Please. Bathrooms. I was like, shit. But they got gloves. Ain't no thing, and people would leave their soap in the shower, which was against the rules. I got to throw it away. It was fun.
It was fun.
It was to take my arm and just all the way down and be like, where's my soap?
I'm sure you enjoyed that.
I did. I'm like, let's talk about it at the house meeting. Like, someone keeps throwing away my stuff. And the house owner would be like, they went into your bin that you had in your closet and they took it out and threw it away. No, I left it in the shower. He's like, oh, good. Then they're doing their job because they're not supposed to leave stuff in there. But no, I just bought that. Okay, well, you have to go buy another one then because I thought you're going to go run to the trash to go look for it. But it gave me something to go, cleaning the bathroom today. Get all this stuff out of here. But you got to look at it in a different way. I could have been like, I hate doing this. I could have moved them on and then just under my breath bitched about people aren't supposed to leave their shit in the shower.
Yeah.
Nope. It's my job. I'm doing it. And I'm going to have fun. I'll put the gloves on. I'm going to get behind the toilet. I'm going to clean it like I'm going to clean my house, And that's what I think people don't understand is you're not, I'm just cleaning up for other people. No. You're setting a standard for yourself, And if you walk past trash in your house and you're good with it, okay. Sometimes, especially having a baby, I'll walk past something I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get that on the way back because I got to throw a diaper away in a minute, But a lot of times we'll just pick it up and take care of it, but some people, like you said, don't really know how to do stuff like that. Yeah. And it blows my mind.
Yeah. And see, that's what I love about being at Unity versus like I love ATS, and the tea houses, they serve their purpose in my life, but.
I think something bad's coming out. I heard the word but.
No.
Obviously.
But being at Unity, it's just a different, it's a different atmosphere. It's a different.
Well,
there's not
people are at a different level, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I think that's fair to say because we, when we interview people, the guys, Unity is also very peer led. There is we have a house manager, and we just someone to go to or someone to like be like, hey, the kitchen's not being cleaned. Like we should all do it. We don't have a chore list. We all maintain the house together. We all respect each other, and our boundaries, and it's a different level, just like you said. We like to get people around 6 months to a year clean to come to Unity, and the guys, we interview the guys, we go through the applications, we pick who comes and goes. And that's another thing that I've done different is I didn't go to an ATS house, I went to Unity, and I feel like that's another huge shift in my recovery.
Because you knew how to skate the system and get away with this and get away with that, and that's what I think ATS was like, I can't come back, because you knew where the extra spoons were at. You knew where the good ice cream was. Like you knew the kitchen in the back of your hand. Like it was just another home for you. Exactly.
Yeah. And, last year I tried to get into Unity and I did. I did the interview at both the houses and I got accepted. And I was honest with them that I had relapsed a few weeks prior and just counted it as a slip. You know what I mean? ATS gave me a second chance for like the 5th time, and they really valued that I was honest about that and they let me in. And then I knew that Unity was going to be my last chance for recovery housing in Traverse City. And I knew at that point that I wasn't done getting high. So I got accepted. I did the drug test, did the walkthrough, and then I turned it down and said, I guess I'm not going to come here. Sorry that I wasted your time or whatever. But it's because I knew in my heart that I wasn't done getting high. And it was true. 2 weeks later, I got high. You know what I mean? Then I was gone for 6 months. So I was happy that I listened to my intuition, and didn't, squander that opportunity. Because now, this year, I got accepted, and it's working out really great for me. I even have my own room.
Nice. Damn.
Yeah, no roommate.
Nice.
And that never happens in a tea house.
No. So one time I was in a tea house and I didn't have a roommate. Like I moved into the house and I had a roommate and then he moved out the next day and then I got drunk in the room.
Yeah.
But I wasn't there for the right reasons. Like that's the whole different ball game when you're not doing it for the right reasons. But like you said, you knew in the heart of hearts, nah, you weren't done yet.
Yeah.
And I was just there because they're like, oh, it's Grand Rapids. I'll be, close to this person who's giving me money and I'll do it because this is what they want.
Right.
And then when the roommate left, I'm like, well, I guess I can get drunk up in here. I got my little tablet and the bathroom's right there. I even brought up like jugs. I think they were like milk jugs that I would pee in so that I wouldn't
have to keep
going back to the bathroom. So I would like take 3 of them in there with me and just dump them in the thing and use it and then sneak them back into the room. Stupid. But I got found out and kicked out.
Yep.
Because that's what happens. And I wasn't there for the right reasons. It wasn't where I was supposed to be. And I wasn't done yet. I still needed more pain.
Yeah.
And stuff to figure out. But I'm glad that you're doing good, man. And I'm glad that you're here today for the holiday party. And I was just thinking last night or this morning, I was like, because I saw you yesterday for the first time in forever. And
well, if you'd work on Tuesdays.
I know. It's Daddy Sunday Tuesdays. So I know, but I was here and I saw you and then I started thinking about like, man, I haven't done a podcast, like a sit down one-on-one.
Right.
And you said to me, I've been on your podcast when I asked Terry Ray, who's a local radio host here, what she likes most about hot dogs.
Yeah.
I had you being a stunt boy.
Yep. That was nerve-wracking because you were in my ear telling me what to say. That was... Yep.
That's the best. Yeah. Sending someone out when we're out doing live stuff on location. That's the best, man. And yeah, so you have been on again, but I had never had a sit down one-on-one with you. And I thought, man, I got to get Tim on. And then I see you today and I'm like, there's a meeting going on. I can see he doesn't really want to interrupt it and pulled you in here and did a podcast. So
yeah, I'm glad you did. Cause every time, like I said, every time I listen to the podcast, I always think like what it would be like to be, the person on there. Now I
ruined it for you. And you're like, it's nothing. It's just stupid. It's fucking fireplace going, candle going.
I enjoyed this.
Green, red lights going, Christmas spirit.
Yeah. My hands are sweaty. My stomach is like, ugh. But it's okay. I enjoyed it. Oh.
All right. Well, we'll have to have you on again. And I don't know, when you get your year.
Yeah.
You can talk about it. And like some people, I'm like, I want to be on your podcast, dude. I'm like, all right, get your year. And they're like, what? Sometimes I tell them 6 months, but.
April 20th.
Yeah. 420, man. Yeah. April 20th, we'll have you on and we'll do a little year celebration or something.
All right.
I'll give you your coin.
Okay.
A cool coin.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's a plan. So tune in April 20th as Tim returns to the 217 Recovery Podcast. And maybe we'll have those other guys on too.
Yeah.
Sometimes it makes it more interesting. You never know what Justin's going to say.
Yeah.
It's even gonna
you
be
never know.
No, but yeah, thanks for coming on, man. And check back and listen to the episode where Tim asked Terry Ray about her hot dog preferences. And there's tons of episodes on the app and, of course, at 217recovery.com.
Thanks for listening to the 217 Recovery Podcast. Listen to over 900 episodes on the 217 Recovery app that's free in your app store or online at 217recovery.com.